All right, hello everyone to this week's class. Today we're going to be going over the AWS Cloud Center of Excellence once again. So let me just share my screen and then we can get started. Okay, so once again, AWS Cloud Center of Excellence. Let's get into it. So, as always, the first thing is the table of contents. What are we going to be covering within this presentation today? So the first thing that we're going to be going over is what is the Cloud Center of Excellence, or CCOE. The next is what are the actual benefits? What are the key principles? What are the guidelines? What are the best practices? What to actually look for within the Cloud Center of Excellence employees? Why you want to use CCOE? The key challenges you might come across while facing this, and also some things to remember, as well as an additional video and the works cited. Okay, so what is the Cloud Center of Excellence? So the definition that is provided to us is that the CCOE is a cross-functional team of people who are ultimately responsible for both developing and managing the cloud strategy, the governance, and the best practices. This all comes together to lead the organization as a whole in cloud adoption, migration, and also operations. And alternate names of CCOE include Cloud Competency. That's supposed to say Competency Center, Cloud Capability Center, and Cloud Knowledge Center. Continuing off of this, there are four main parts to the Cloud Center of Excellence. The first one is structure and operations. So this means mixing the organizational structure with operational efficiency and also proven success methods. The next part is evaluation. So this is just staying ahead of the curve, leading to confidence in organizational maturity. The next part is governance, and this is roles and responsibilities, cloud policy, and also performing the appropriate transformative services that support your adoption into the cloud. And then there's also innovation, which is allowing the proper allocation of resources to actually support your specific business objectives. These are the benefits of the CCOE. So three benefits which we have listed on this slide is modernize, CI/CD, which I'm going to go into more detail in, and then more with less. So basically, starting off with modernize, this ultimately guarantees you modern and efficient pipelines that are simple to comprehend. For CI/CD, this just means continuous integration slash continuous deployment. And these are the cornerstones of CCOE practices. And finally, on the slide, more with less. And this basically means that it's going to enable you to adopt to the cloud, increasing speed and the ability to do more with less resources. And this is going to help you promote scale within your startup. Now, for who actually benefits from starting a CCOE. So, who, again, three people who benefit are, or not people, people and groups. We have leaders, IT teams, and customers. So for leaders, this includes a variety of leadership roles. And some of them that you may have heard of are the CIOs, the CTOs, the CFOs, and also project managers. IT teams in total also benefit from starting a CCOE because the CCOE is going to help create repeatable functions to replace disruptive technology. And this is obviously going to allow for consistency and efficiency in the long run. For customers, CCOE is going to help support different customers, and it's going to do this by delivering the most innovative technology to meet the user's goals. And as we've discussed in a lot of our live streams before, meeting the user's goals is obviously the most important thing. So, um, having customers benefit from CCOE among other staff is very important. Now, for some key principles. So, here we have six of the key principles for actually creating a CCOE. So number one is that the structure is going to change and it's also going to grow as your organization evolves. And the cloud should be treated like your own product. You should treat your application team leaders as the customers who you are actually trying to enable. You want to create a company culture which reflects every single action that is taken. And you also want to remember that organizational change management is imperative to successful business transformation. You want to make sure to utilize both your selected and intended organizational change management to alter the company culture and norms. And while doing this, you also want to embrace a change as normal mindset and alterations within applications, IT systems, and business direction is expected. Finally, operating model decisions are going to decide how the employees fill roles to eventually be successful in business outcomes. Some more CCOE principles here. So, number one is build the right team. Number two is scope and grow the team's responsibilities. Sorry about that. And the last one is to empower the team to both teach and abide by the best practices possible. So, for building the right team, you want to mentor your team to properly use the cloud, and you also want to obtain the lowest cloud rates possible, while also making sure that leaders can hold the organization accountable. For scoping and growing the team's responsibilities, you want to assess the data and you also want to envision future trends to both scope and grow cloud responsibilities from an organizational and from a financial point of view. You want to also make sure that you're empowering your team to both teach and to abide by the best practices possible. You want to keep both the cost and the optimal price practices in mind as you're going through with this. And while empowering your team, you want to make decisions on accurate data and analysis. So you always want to do your research before making these types of decisions. Okay, now for some guidelines to actually help design a CCOE that represents your specific company. So, number one, begin with a competitive vision, but try to work gradually to get to the final goal, which is desired. Make sure that you are constantly engaging your employees, and you can just do this by setting goals and obviously letting fellow workers conquer these goals in creative ways. You also want to keep a determined focus on becoming better with shorter times and utilize a large amount of mechanization to sanction both speed and stability, both at the same time. Also, have utmost charity on your business goals and straightforward business cases as a result of this. Finally, for this slide, make certain that there is a steady sense of urgency revolving around the transformation in order to keep away from both needless discourse and delay. Now for some best practices in a CCOE. So use the AWS CAF, which is Cloud Adoption Framework, which we covered in another live stream. So if you want to learn more about that, you can find that in the live stream list, which is on our channel. And you want to use this to help staff the cloud team. In a perfect world, you want to try to have one person represent each cloud adoption framework perspective. But obviously, the slideshow says in a perfect world, so that's implying that it doesn't happen 100% of the time. But obviously, you want to try to do this or aim to do this. And this includes business, people, process, platform, security, maturity, and operations. So you want to try to hire cloud enthusiasts. And this is because, as we've seen in companies in the past and startups in the past, always hiring people who actually have a passion for the company and what it's doing is increases the chance of the company being successful because it has employees who are actually willing to put a lot of time and work into the goal. You want to start the cloud small and try to grow as the value actually increases, and maybe start with around 5 to 7 employees and end up expanding to eventually around maybe 5 to 10% of the actual IT team. Now, what to look for in CCOE employees. So this is just a result, I mean not a result, sorry, a list of stuff that you should generally look for. So number 1 is people who are experimental. So people who are able to learn from failure and try new things for success. People who are bold or not afraid to fail and try something new, similar to experimental. People who are result hungry. So this is just people who can form an idea and um, follow it through to implementation. Some people who are also customer centric, because obviously customer is very important with a startup and a company. So being customer centric helps to respect the customer's ideas and helps for the company to strive towards the customer's main use of whatever the product is. Able to persuade. So someone who's able to persuade just obviously means someone who's able to help bring the best from others. Now, why use an actual cloud center of excellence? The CCOE allows for a quickened and manageable adoption into the cloud, and it optimizes the ability to reap benefits while reducing the risk. It also transforms real people, and it's not just simply boxes or dots on an organization chart. People and personalized needs have to be at the center of the transformation. And successful business transformations are ultimately personalized and they're specific to real people, which is why they're important. Now for some key challenges in a CCOE. Switching to an old redundant computer system as a result of an error in a computer network or in the computer network. Um, you might have a challenge with managing your infrastructure correctly, developing your applications, training in the cloud ability and awareness, managing your assets, having good cost effectiveness and allocating your funds appropriately. And you might also have a challenge in managing the changes in your specific environment. Now, here are some things to actually remember regarding CCOE. So, the CCOE itself is a service to the other teams who need it, but it's really important to realize that it's not a gatekeeper. By creating a truce and the open lines of communication early on, trust and course corrections can be made as the framework evolves. And the CCOE should keep evolving over time for the better, as it needs to, of course. Also, try to consider implanting a portion or maybe even all of the CCOE in close proximity to your customers and your specific line of the business that you are participating in. And this is a YouTube video. And as with all of the YouTube videos on this live stream, it's going to be posted in the description of the live stream that you're currently watching once I've ended it. So in a few minutes after I've ended it, I'll just add the video there. So if you'd want to learn more about this specific topic, you can do so. And finally, these are our works cited. These are the sources we used. And that is the entire presentation. So once again, thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next presentation.